So in the last video, we set up a DigitalOcean droplet, but we didn't actually run any code on that droplet. So in this video, we're going to install and run Bitcoin Core on a DigitalOcean droplet. I have a droplet booted up. We use this Ubuntu tobedeleted droplet. And there are some good how-to guides on how to run Bitcoin Core on DigitalOcean. So there's this one from Eric Allen. It runs through the various commands that you need to enter into terminal to get a full node, in this case Bitcoin Core, running on a DigitalOcean droplet. And he has a follow-up blog post with instructions on what to do when the full node running on DigitalOcean fills up your storage space. So that's a follow-up. If you prefer videos, 402 payment required has a video on how to securely install or upgrade Bitcoin Core on Linux, and Ministry of Nodes has instructions on how to install Bitcoin Core on an Ubuntu box that you have at home. So not installing Bitcoin Core on someone else's computer on DigitalOcean droplet, actually installing on hardware that you own and have access to. So that's the Ministry of Nodes video, and there's another video from Ministry of Nodes there. All the links will be in the comments. Now, if you're interested in Lightning, it's generally recommended that you run a full node like Bitcoin Core in parallel with your Lightning node. You can't open Lightning channels until the node has fully synced with the tip of the blockchain. And this can take days or weeks, depending on what machine you're using to complete that initial blockchain download process. If you want to get set up quicker with your Lightning node, there are a couple of alternative options. There's a Sauron plugin for Core Lightning that allows you to connect to a Block Explorer instance, in this case Explorer, so that you don't need to have a full node up and running. And additionally, Blockstream is working on a Greenlight product that would allow you to run a Lightning node on their infrastructure whilst maintaining access to your keys locally. So Blockstream would have no access to your keys, even though they're running the Lightning node and the Bitcoin Core full node on their own infrastructure. The documentation and tutorials are improving over time, and it's currently in an alpha or beta state as I speak in August 2023. Okay, so Bitcoin Core is the full node we're going to install and run. There are lots of options for how to install Bitcoin Core. It's packaged and distributed through various different channels, including those listed here. The recommended way to install Bitcoin Core is via bitcoincore.org, where you can download Bitcoin Core for whatever operating system you're on, and you can also download and verify binary hashes and signatures associated with a particular release. That's an example of the files you can download, in this case for the 25.0 version. And Luke Dasher has a blog post on how to securely install Bitcoin and verify the signatures for those releases. Additionally, there is an option to build Bitcoin Core using Geeks. This minimizes trusted binaries and maintains an auditable bootstrap path. It does take a little longer with a few more instructions to complete, but those instructions for the Geeks build are there in the Bitcoin Core repo. But the easiest way is to easiest and quickest way is just to git clone the code from the Bitcoin Core repository. So that is what we'll do for the purposes of this video. And then we'll follow these instructions to build Bitcoin Core. Okay, so we will go into the terminal. We will SSH into our DigitalOcean droplet, so SSH-I, and then the location of our SSH key for our droplet is in home/.ssh, the directory, and the file name for my SSH key was to be deleted. Again, refer back to the getting set up on DigitalOcean video if this isn't clear to you. And then we haven't set up any users, so we'll use root at the IP address of the DigitalOcean droplet. So we'll copy and paste that IP address, and then we'll SSH into our DigitalOcean droplet. You sure you want to continue? Yes. Okay, so in our droplet, we can do an ls to see what files and directories are currently installed. There's just that snap directory. So let's git clone the Bitcoin Core repo. We'll just copy and paste that HTTPS link and we'll do a git clone. And that should only take a few seconds to complete. So we'll wait for that. Okay, so that has almost completed. Okay, so now we can do an ls and we'll see that now we have an additional directory, we have the Bitcoin directory. We'll cd into that Bitcoin directory and then do an ls, and we can see all the files and directories that the Bitcoin Core repo on GitHub had. Okay, so now we have the code on our droplet. How do we build Bitcoin Core? Well, there are some dependencies that we need to install. So we will copy and paste that command for some of the dependencies. Dependencies include Python 3. So let's run that and do it to continue. So that's the first set of dependencies. Then we will install these dependencies, as we won't be building from depends. So let's copy and paste that. Or in our droplets, we'll just enter OK for that. Okay, so that first set of dependencies is installed. And let's install the second set of dependencies. Say yes. And then the final dependency we'll install is SQLite that's used for the Bitcoin Core descriptor wallet. So just click OK again, click enter. So the second set's been installed, and now we'll install SQLite. Press enter. Okay, so that's all the dependencies that we need installed. We can now do the build instructions. There's these 3 commands: autogen, .sh, configure, and then make. So we'll do the first one, which was ./autogen.sh, and then press enter. So this shouldn't take too long, it should take a few seconds. The next command is the configure command, and this has various options that you can run with the configure command. Because we're doing everything in the command line and we won't be using the GUI, the graphical user interface, we will configure with the without GUI flag. That will just save us a bit of time because it won't configure the GUI in addition to everything else. So that's auto-gen.sh is completed. We'll now do the configure command, and with the without GUI flag, and press enter for that. And we'll wait for that to complete. The final command is the make command. Now to speed up make, because this is going to take a few minutes to complete, you can do make -j and then a number for the number of cores you have access to, so -j5 for example. We will just enter make because I don't know how many cores someone watching this will have, so we'll just assume they only have one. And then when configure's finished, it has configure's now finished, we will do this make command and press enter. As I said, this is going to take a few minutes to complete, so I won't continue the video. I'll come back once this make command has completed. So I'll stop the video for now. Okay, so I'm back. Where we left it was that we'd just run the make command in the terminal, and just over 40 minutes on, that make command has successfully completed. Now 40 minutes is quite a long time. Perhaps you're patient, that's not a problem. You can do something else while you wait. But as I alluded to earlier, you can speed up make by running make -j and then a number. So the number is how many cores you have plus one. So if you have 4 cores, you'll do make -j5. And that's a John Attack blog post. So definitely do that to speed up the make command. But we have successfully built Bitcoin Core. The final outputs you'll see are this nothing to be done leaving directory. Okay, so, and obviously you've now got a prompt, so you can now enter commands again because the make command is completed. Now, the branch of Bitcoin Core that we built was this master branch. So the master branch is the very latest branch of development, the changes on top of the last version release, which was 25.0. So you might want to build a particular version of Bitcoin Core, and you can check out a tag, say 25.x, 24.x, if you want to build and run a particular version. But we have built using master branch, and we can see that by doing git branch, and we're on master. Okay, so let's run Bitcoin Core, and we are in the Bitcoin directory. We can see the files in that directory. We can cd into src, which is source, and then we can run the Bitcoin daemon. So ./bitcoind, enter, and then this is the debug.log for our node that is currently running. Now we can open a new terminal tab. We'll split vertically, and then let's SSH into the droplet from this tab. So SSH-i /SSH to be deleted root at our droplet IP address. Okay, so we're now in our droplet on our second tab. You can see our directories. We'll go into Bitcoin, and then we're going to SRC. And now we can run the Bitcoin CLI, so like Bitcoin command line interface. So we can do things like /Bitcoin CLI and get connection count to see how many peers we have connected to at this early stage of our initial blockchain download process. So if we do that, we can see that we're currently connected to 7 peers. And do it again. Yeah, still 7. So that will vary, and if I was complaining about how long the make command took, like initial blockchain download could take multiple days, and perhaps even weeks on like a Raspberry Pi device. So this will take a very long time. Now, an alternative would be, let's just for now, we will stop that initial blockchain download by doing ./Bitcoin CLI and stop. So that will stop the Bitcoin daemon. We can see that through the debug.log. There's various flushing occurring and a shutdown. Now, we can instead run a test chain, so like a testnet or a Signet chain, and Signet will take a very short period to complete that initial blockchain download process to fully sync. So to run the daemon for Signet, it would be ./Bitcoin D and then the Signet flag. And now we can see the debug.log for a Signet node. We'll go into the other tab and we'll run the CLI command again, but this time with the Signet flag. It's running a Signet node. We do get connection count to see how many peers we're connected to on Signet. And we can see that at the current time we only have 2 peers connected on Signet. But if you look at the debug.log, that will complete or get to the blockchain tip of Signet in a much faster time. So that is an option. You can run them both in parallel, right? You could be running a Signet node and a mainnet node at the same time. You can see what processes are currently running by doing ps-ax and then grep for Bitcoin D. And there we can see that the Signet is running, but the mainnet isn't running because we stopped that. So let's stop that Signet node. We can do that by doing ./Bitcoin CLI Signet flag and stop. And that will stop the syncing of our Signet node. Okay, so that is running the Bitcoin D daemon in various modes, mainnet, Signet. You can also do testnet or reg test, which is entirely local. And yeah, that's where we'll wrap up for now. That's running Bitcoin Core on a DigitalOcean droplet.